Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuouki Kyoto Winds. We are still on the common route, although we are pursuing Keisuke-san at the moment, who we happened to meet outside when we were trying to cool down, and he doesn't look very happy about it at the moment. So let us progress. You can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. And what are you doing? Are you allowed out of your room? You haven't been given the run of our headquarters, I'm sure. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. They usually let me walk around as I pleased, so long as I didn't go into anyone's room, but I knew that technically I was confined in my room. Any freedom given to me was simply a courtesy. In other words, Sanan was right. If he decided to chastise me for being in the courtyard, I had no reasonable response. There were some things I wanted to think about. I hoped the courtyard would be breezy. The moment the words were out of my mouth, I realized they sounded far more like childish excuses than a valid explanation. When you sneak about without permission, it makes it seem as if you have something to hide. I'm sorry. I wasn't sneaking though, I was boldly walking out into the air. Still, I was beginning to grow accustomed to the subtle cruelty that seemed to accompany each word from Sanan's mouth. We're getting used to it, huh? That's not good. Alright, I'm going back to my room then. I'll go ahead and suffocate in there alone, thinking. I turned and began to walk away. Sanan's unpleasantness had started after he was wounded during his trip to Osaka. He spent most of his time locked in his room now, and he was quick to lash out on others in response. I knew the loss of his arm hurt him more than I could understand, but I wished he would go back to being the warm, kind man he was originally. He's gonna need our help for that. I turned around to see him still standing there. It's really hot out today. You should try to stay out of the sun. Please, take care of yourself. I gave him a nervous little laugh, and he responded with a chuckle of his own. His smile didn't look forced. Aw. Thank you. Take care of yourself as well. Okay. The Sanan I'd first met was still there. My spirits lifted, I ran back to my room. He's still in there somewhere. It was later that evening that the compound exploded with activity. I was walking down the hall when I heard footsteps and turned to see Nagakura coming toward me. Nagakura? What's that for? He glanced down almost absently at his hands, holding a candle and an exceptionally long needle. That sounds ominous.
One of the Choshu guys we picked up isn't talking. Hijikata's gonna talk to him personally, but he said he didn't have the right, tools, and sent me to get these.
I don't understand. Ah, so innocent.
Look kid, ignorance is bliss, alright? Don't think about it too much.
Yeah, that's for the best. He gave another bark of laughter, turned his back on me, and walked off. As the sun began to set, the activity in the compound reached a fever pitch. It was so busy that I couldn't even help with making dinner. The commotion was overwhelming. What's going on, guys? Heisuke! He shot past my door, then wheeled back around. What happened? All the men are running around. Any word from that Choshu prisoner?
Yeah, the guy finally broke. It looks like they're having a meeting right now. They're getting ready for a raid.
Oh. Heisuke went on to explain that the Shinsengumi would be splitting into two groups and searching locations at opposite ends of the city. Kondo would take 10 men to the Ikeda Inn, and Hijikata would take 24 to the Shikoku Inn.
I heard they might be at Shikoku. Gotta say, I'm kinda pissed the chief's sending me to Ikeda.
They'd send more men with Hijikata because they thought he'd be seeing action. Kondo and his men were to make sure they covered all their bases. You mean there aren't even 40 men ready?
Yeah, kinda sucks, because there's so many men who get sick when we need them the most.
I'd known that the heat and the close quarters made some men sick, but I hadn't known it was so many. Heisuke sighed.
We sent word to the Aizu and the Judiciary Commissioner, but looks like they don't care.
Sounds like you got your work cut out for you. Unfortunately, there wasn't much I could offer him apart from sympathy. I had a feeling it was going to be a difficult night. After all the men capable of fighting had left for their respective assignments, Sanan called for me. I'm sure it was only out of courtesy, but the chief has asked me to protect the compound. Sanan's passive-aggressive attitude reared its head. It's mostly empty, of course, but someone may try to attack us for that very reason. I must ask you to stay where I can see you, I may need to give you orders should the worst occur. Okay. I hesitated a moment, then spoke. Does that mean you'll protect me? I wasn't sure why, but he laughed at that. Well, I should hope I'll be more use than the men who've been confined to their beds at least. Was I supposed to be happy? His smile was so sad, I wasn't sure what to say. Well, I'm pretty sure you can protect me better than I can protect myself at least. It seemed to hurt him most when the other men were out fighting, and all he could do was wait. The silence between us stretched out until the door to our room suddenly opened without a sound.
Colonel Sanin, we've confirmed that the Choshu are meeting at Ikeda.
The Ikeda Inn?
Oh dear, that's less than desirable. The Shinsengumi has never been good with chance.
They should have done the opposite of what they thought was going to happen. His tone was light, but his face was serious, and with good reason. They had been certain Shikoku was the right location, and had sent only half as many men to Ikeda.
Yamazaki, can you do me a favor?
The man whom he called Yamazaki nodded curtly. He is the Shinsengumi officer and spy, as well as a member of the Watch. Despite not living in the Yagi residence, he is aware of my situation.
First of all, go tell Hijikata that the enemy is meeting at Ikeda. He should still be on his way to Shikoku. And I'm sorry to trouble you with it, but I need you to take this child with you as well.
Wait! Yamazaki seemed just as surprised. I paused before thinking about what's next. I had to say, I'll go. I shall obey. I'll go. Please, let me help you guys. If I really could help, then I wanted to. I'd lived with these men for almost half a year. They'd fed me, given me a roof over my head, and helped me look for my father. Now we know we made the right choice for sure.
It looks like you're ready for this. I don't mean to be rude, Colonel, but if all you need is a message delivered, I can handle it.
Yamazaki's cold eye slid over to me for a moment as he spoke.
There may be Ronin out there to intercept you. And besides, there is a chance that Choshu has reinforcements. If your message were to be intercepted, then you will be sure not to reach Hijikata in time.
Sanin finished with a soft smile I hadn't seen him use for weeks.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? Yes. If the worst should happen, I can hold off any Choshu Ronin and give her the message.
What? It sounded as if they were suggesting if things went badly, Yamazaki would sacrifice himself.
Yes. Of course I doubt it will come to that.
But just in case.
We're short on men right now, which means there's more I need you to do. You'll need to notify Aizu and the Judiciary Commissioner as well.
That would have Yamazaki running all across Kyoto. I suppose it really drove home just how thin the Shinsengumi was stretched. And there's no other person that could do this job? What about Shimada? Shimada is another Shinsengumi spy who was trusted enough with knowledge of my situation. Sanin shook his head. The Shinsengumi need every single member they can get, and Shimada was with the Shikoku team. Which means that, apart from Yamazaki, I was the only one that could possibly serve as a messenger at the moment.
You're Yukimoto, right? I heard you know a little about how to protect yourself.
Just a little. Yes, I do.
Unfortunately, I can't guarantee your safety. If you can manage, you're welcome to join me.
If I tried to run away while we were out, I had no doubt he would kill me without hesitation. This mission is his priority, not my life. Even so, I'll go. I can take care of myself. You don't need to worry about me. Sanin gave me a small smile. I knew he wanted to join the battle more than anyone, but we both knew that wasn't possible. The least I could do was carry out my mission.
Very well. I accept your request, Colonel.
He bowed then as he stepped out of the room and turned to me.
Run with all your might.
I took off after him, my legs working as hard as they could. Into the dark street we ran. I discovered quickly that half a year indoors did little for my physique, and I was out of shape. After only a few blocks, I was gasping for breath. Yamazaki, who was running ahead of me, suddenly stopped and looked sharply behind us.
No matter what happens, follow the street. Don't look back.
Don't tell me someone's behind us.
You don't need to know that.
Seems like Yamazaki's hunch was right. What should I tell Yamazaki? I should say, Yamazaki, you should go. I'll hold them off. I'm sure I'm more than capable. I'll stay behind. Yamazaki, please, you should go.
Don't be a fool. What could you possibly do by staying behind?
If I distract the enemies, then you could go in the meantime. Oh, that's a new pose for him. I've never seen him do that. We have new poses for the guys in this game?
If we need a lure, then it's going to be me. Run for it.
Yamazaki wasn't going to take no for an answer, so I nodded in good faith. I looked to what lay ahead for me, which is... As I stepped into the next intersection, I saw a flash of metal from the corner of my eye.
Keep going. I'll catch up in a moment.
Yep, that's definitely a new pose. And he looks awesome.
Just keep running until you see a white uniform.
Right. I kept running. I pretended I didn't hear the sound of swords ringing against one another behind me and ran. My knees felt weak and my legs shook, but I kept going. They'd have to collapse or tear themselves to pieces before I'd stop. Even so, I felt so slow. I wanted to cry out, to scream at my body to go faster, faster. Ah! A bright light suddenly cut through the darkness, and I placed my hand over my eyes from the glare. My heart stopped. Was it Choshu soldiers? I froze.
What the hell are you doing?
I very nearly began to cry with relief. Hijikata was not dressed in the usual light blue jacket, but rather a bright white uniform to be seen in dimly lit places. Instead, I simply collapsed as Harada reached out to grab me.
Hey, you alright? If you left the headquarters without permission, Hijikata's gonna kill you.
I grabbed hold of Harada's hand and pulled my body to its feet. I wanted to tell him I had permission to leave and explain it was all right for me to be there, but I was so winded I could barely speak. Besides, I wasn't sent to Hijikata to make excuses. I took as deep a breath as my shuddering lungs could manage before speaking. They're meeting at Ikeda. Suddenly, Hijikata's expression changed.
Then they are at Ikeda.
I nodded rapidly.
Are you sure?
Hijikata gestured toward me.
Sanin lost his arm, not his brain. The kid didn't run away. The colonel sent us this message.
Yeah, if I ran away, I wouldn't have come here.
I'm pretty impressed you found us. I didn't think you knew Kyoto that well, kid.
Yeah, Yamazaki. I finally got some of my breath back, and I did my best to tell him what had happened.
What about the Aizu and the commissioner's men? Are they on their way to Ikeda?
I just shook my head. Hijikata thought for a moment, then spoke.
Saito, Harada, you take our men to Ikeda. I need to go deal with something.
Harada and Saito nodded curtly, then turned to their business.
Kyoto will be dangerous for you alone. Stay with us or go with Hijikata.
I still lacked the breath to respond properly, so I simply nodded. We both knew they couldn't leave me here, but whom should I accompany? I will stay with Hijikata. The prospect of being alone with him was rather frightening, but for reasons I still don't understand, I decided to go with Hijikata. 'Cause I don't want to see battle. And he's actually kind of close with Sanin. We were quiet for a while. I felt like I should say something, but I wasn't sure what. Instead, I kept quiet. After a moment, he glanced down at me. And smiled. And I got points with him.
Good job with that message. It might have given us the advantage we need.
I never thought Hijikata, of all people, would praise me for anything. My heart fluttered momentarily in my chest. But what did he mean by an advantage? If the battle at Ikeda Inn had begun, it didn't seem like we had much of an advantage at all. We stepped from the alley into the central avenue. Hijikata? Why are we out here on the street?
What kind of man tries to hide all the time?
I blinked, not sure what to make of that. Yamazaki appeared beside us without making a sound. Yamazaki, you're safe! He didn't seem to have been hurt at all, thank goodness. Yamazaki's eyes slid to me for a moment, then back to Hijikata.
You're aware of the situation at Ikeda, I assume. Colonel Sanin ordered me to notify the Aizu and the Judiciary Commissioner, but... Yeah, I'll have new orders for you in a few minutes. Sit close for now. Understood. Your commander needs to go have a word with a bunch of useless bastards.
Let him have it, Hijikata. Deep in his cold eyes, I saw a spark of anger. They appeared as the words came out of his mouth, lines of government soldiers marching toward us. There were hundreds of them, marching across the entire width of the street, several rows deep. Now I understood why Hijikata took us out into the street. We would never have seen the government force as we shimmied through the back alleys. There was something about their march, so slow and unconcerned, that lit fires of anger in my eyes. The rest of the men are still fighting at the inn. The Shinsengumi had a few soldiers able to fight, but they were risking their lives for Kyoto. Didn't these men have the same responsibility? Why weren't they rushing to help us at the inn? Perhaps my anger was more obvious than I realized, because Hijikata gave a snort of laughter.
Don't worry, I'll make sure they don't screw us.
He stepped forward into the very middle of the street, directly in front of the advancing soldiers. All he did was move a few feet and turn to face them, but he held such authority in his movements. He could have easily been at the head of an army.
The Shinsengumi are currently conducting an official investigation of the Ikeda Inn. You will not interfere. You will not enter the Ikeda Inn.
Even I could see that the government men were going to protest Hijikata's proclamation when Yamazaki leaned over to whisper in my ear.
If we let these men walk into the inn, they'll take credit for subduing this Choshu threat.
What? How could they? After all the Shinsengumi had done, it just didn't seem fair. But it's the men of the Shinsengumi who are risking their lives.
Then you see how little respect they have for the Shinsengumi. The commander is single-handedly protecting the Shinsengumi right now. If we allow them to step into the Ikeda Inn, they will spread tales of their false heroism. All that we may do here tonight will be in vain if we allow them to front the raid. That is why the commander is trying to prevent the Aizu domain from intruding.
Yamazaki held Hijikata in such high regard. So when Hijikata said he had an advantage, this is what he was referring to.
But we must. You really think you can fit all these men in there? The best you'll be able to do is surround it. Unless you really want to send them in there to die. There's a fight going on. If you value the lives of your men, I suggest you stay put.
Hijikata's tone, as much as his words, left no room for argument. Until the battle ended, he stood his ground, and not a single man challenged him. Finally, the sun rose from the black sky. The raid itself had lasted only 2 hours. But for me, at least, it had felt far longer. There had been 20 Imperial nationalists at the Ikeda Inn. The Shinsengumi had killed 7 Ronin and injured 4 more. I learned later that, with the help of the Aizu domain and the Kyoto Judiciary Commissioner, they arrested 23 people. The owner of the Ikeda Inn had also been arrested for trying to help the Choshu rebels escape. The Shinsengumi had won an incredible victory, fighting against superior numbers in enemy territory, but they paid dearly for it. Okita had taken a blow to the chest and lost consciousness. Heisuke had been cut on the forehead, and the bleeding refused to stop. Nagakura had injured his left hand. One of the Shinsengumi soldiers lost his life at the inn's rear entrance, and 2 others were severely injured there as well. It didn't seem likely that they would survive. The Kyoto military and judiciary commissioners also fought the Choshu Ronin. With their successful resolution of the Battle of Ikeda Inn, the Shinsengumi had, at last, made a name for themselves. It looked as though the peace in Kyoto had been protected. Never could I have imagined what the ultimate result of their victory would be. July 1864. End of July 1864. Weeks passed since the Battle of Ikeda Inn. In the meantime, the Shinsengumi grew stricter during the rounds to arrest the numerous outlaw Ronin that escaped from the Ikeda Inn. Rumors surfaced of extremists who were plotting to exact revenge on the Shinsengumi. Additionally, there were also problems occurring with warriors spanning from other domains, making things tense around the headquarters. Things were finally settling down. That didn't sound like things were settling down. As a result of my efforts during the battle, the groom were encouraging of my involvement. The Shinsengumi allowed me to sweep the area in front of the headquarters on my own. One day, I was cleaning the courtyard with a broom when I heard gentle footsteps approaching me.
Excuse me, but is this the Shinsengumi headquarters?
Oh, yes. The voice came from behind me, so I was caught off guard when answering.
You're...
Me? You recognize me? Huh? Hijikata showed up suddenly, as if he telepathically knew I was speaking to someone. Oh, Hijikata, this man is... Before I could finish my sentence, the man ran toward Hijikata.
Oh, I knew it! Toshi! It's me, Hachiro! Long time no see!
Wait, Hachiro? What the hell are you doing here?
When Hijikata realized who it was, his eyes grew wide. He's so cute, he seems like a puppy dog. He's like the small puppy dog version of Nagakura.
Are you surprised? I visited Kyoto with shogunate orders. Forget about me. Man, so it really was you connected to the Shinsengumi. I couldn't believe it until I made sure for myself. Congratulations, you really did become a samurai.
Oh, come on, don't mock me. I mean, we're treated no better than any Ronin.
Yes, but your dream of becoming a samurai came true.
Hey, I said don't mock me.
Oh, come now. The Shinsengumi are famous in Edo. You're so feared that even crying children go hush.
Okay, maybe he was teasing him. I thought he was sincere at first.
I heard about your victory at the Ikeda Inn. It would seem you lot are flourishing.
Well, we're working on it.
How very unlike himself. Hijikata seemed to be flustered, and his cheeks were rosy. Judging from their conversation, it appeared that this gentleman had come to visit Hijikata. The rhythm of their rapport seemed to suggest that they had been friends for quite some time. Once I verified their conversation had come to a halt, I mustered the courage to speak to Hijikata. Hijikata, may I ask who this is?
Oh yeah, you two haven't met, I take it.
Nope.
Oh, I haven't introduced myself yet, huh? I'm Hachiro Iba. I'm a Hatamoto of the shogunate Jiki-san, and I'm an Okuzume of the Obanshi.
Oh, I'm Chizuru Yukimura.
Chizuru, nice to meet you officially.
So you know of me. Oh, yes. Nice to meet you too. As soon as Iba and I finished our introductions, Hijikata was inclined to get us indoors.
Hey, we don't need to have this conversation out in the sun. Why don't you come inside?
I took tea to the two in the hall. Hijikata told me to remain there, so I decided to listen in.
So you claimed you came to Kyoto with shogunate orders. Sure climbed that social ladder, huh?
An Okuzume. I listened intently, but subtly, since I was unfamiliar with the contents of their conversation.
He is entrusted with protecting the shogun and his guests and friends who surround him.
Oh, wow! I'm honored to meet such a man.
Oh, please. I'm nothing special. This was a job I acquired from connections with my father.
Ah, nepotism. But, what would bring a man of this stature here, Hijikata? This meant Iba was someone who worked directly with the shogun. What an honor. It made no sense why he would interact with the Shinsengumi, or why he had business with us. Well, obviously, he's friends with Toshi.
I see what you're thinking. You're thinking, why would he know a guy like me, huh?
I did my best to nod without offending him.
You see, not only is he a Hatamoto, but he's the heir of the Shingyoto Ryu Iba Dojo, a top 4 dojo in Edo. The Iba Dojo and my dojo socialized often, so this is how we came to know each other.
Yeah, that's right. When I got word I would be coming to Kyoto, I was excited because I knew I would see Toshi.
Whatever. Just keep in mind Kyoto isn't exactly a vacation destination.
Yes, I'll keep that in mind. However, despite it being so dangerous, it seems even a woman can be with a Shinsengumi.
Well, you have an eye, young man. He noticed right away. Iba glanced at me when he asked this question, before looking to Hijikata. I gasped and cupped my hands over my mouth, and Hijikata's eyes darted toward me sternly. It would seem that Iba picked up on the fact that I was female, judging by their interaction.
Oh, was that supposed to be a secret?
I didn't want to confirm any answers, so I stared toward the mat underneath without speaking.
Well, Her reasons for being here are somewhat complicated, so we have her pose as a man for now. Only a portion of the men of the Shinsengumi know about her, so it would be preferred if you were to keep it under wraps in front of our men.
Understood. I'll do whatever you ask me, Toshi.
Iba drew Hijikata in closer in a jovial manner, and Hijikata blushed at the notion. Why? Why is Hijikata blushing just because Iba's getting close to him? Hijikata is normally really uptight, so seeing him behave this way was startling. It's like they're childhood friends or something. I had a lingering suspicion that Hijikata was actually enjoying himself. All of the commotion must have alerted the captains, because they popped up from nowhere.
Oh, what the hell? Hachiro, is that you?
I knew I heard your voice somewhere. It really was you, huh? Shinpachi, Harada! Everyone else is here too? Long time no see, boys.
Man, you're in Kyoto too? Are you here to trade or are you sightseeing?
Don't be stupid. I'll bet you're here to protect someone important or something, am I right?
Well, maybe it's something like that. If you're in Kyoto, I assume you have a pretty good position.
Iba nodded plainly in response.
I see. You're in Kyoto too, huh? Well, be careful. Don't be stupid and die or something. Thank you for the warning. I'll keep that in mind.
Hey, we should go drinking someday. I mean, we could go now if you want.
Each of the captains surrounded Iba and exchanged words. Seems like he's well loved. Most of all, Iba seemed lost in the amount of fun he had while conversing with everyone. I guess he really knew everyone back in Edo. Hijikata watched their interaction with warmth in his eyes and muttered,
See, despite him being a Hatamoto and also the heir of the Iba dojo, he chose to learn about each and every one of us, and he treats us with respect. It seems no one can escape his amiable nature.
He seemed to be especially fond of Hijikata, though. But I couldn't dare say that.
Well, I guess you can say we're friends. Whenever he visits, be sure to let him in.
Understood. If I happened to be sweeping at the time again? Before we knew it, evening had come, and Iba told us it was time for him to depart.
Well, I guess that means goodbye for now, Chizuru.
Okay. His face seemed reluctant, if not a little forlorn, and he left the compound. Couldn't we invite him to sleep over? I stared at him as he walked into the distance, until his small figure was removed from my eyes. Iba was a mysterious person. Even if he was someone very important and upper class, he acted with integrity and kindness, commanding a lot of respect from the captains of the Shinsengumi. I did not think there was a samurai like him in the shogunate. His warrior record has been unlocked. Again, still not sure what that means. August 1864. August 1864. After the fight at the inn, I was able to leave the compound much more often. I suppose after what I'd done, Hijikata thought I earned a little more trust. I didn't feel like I did anything extraordinary, but I wasn't about to look a gift horse in the mouth. I was genuinely happy that the man, Hijikata, approved of me. On this particular day, I was out on patrol with Harada and the 10th Division. Excuse me, Harada? The Shinsengumi is out patrolling day and night, right?
Yeah, that's right. What about it?
But what exactly is it that you do? Just walk around looking hot. Most of the men in the Shinsengumi were intimidating, death-dealing titans, but Harada was a rare exception, warm and friendly, and snuggly and sweet and protective.
Well, I guess we do just about everything. Obviously, we arrest people who want to test out their swords, or don't pay for their food.
People who don't pay for food? Yeah, dine and dashers.
And then there's those chumps who think they'll make a living leaning on the merchants.
It wasn't really the answer I'd expected. I guess the Shinsengumi's job is closer to a magistrate's than I thought. Thinking back, I remembered how excited they were during the raid. What they did at the inn was far more intense than their day-to-day work. A little further down the road, a couple of men in Shinsengumi blues were waving at us. Nagakura! I guess our separate rounds brought us to the same spot.
Hey there, Chizuru. You find out anything about your dad?
No, nothing today.
Oh, come on, cheer up. There's always tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Yeah, you're right. There was something contagious about his optimism.
Well, Shinpachi, you find anything exciting? No, nothing in particular, but all the people on the street are acting busy, you know?
I hadn't noticed it before, but he was right. They were acting strange, almost nervous. Yeah, it looks like they're getting ready to move.
You think maybe they're worried about getting caught in the middle of a war?
What? War? There wasn't a war, was there?
Oh yeah, we didn't tell you yet, huh?
You didn't tell me there was a war?
Well, those Choshu bastards are showing up around Kyoto again, hence our extra rounds.
Would have been nice if somebody had told me earlier. I might have wanted to stay back at the base.
Well, we did give them a bloody nose at Ikeda. I can't imagine they'll just stand around with some of their guys in the ground.
Were the Choshu going to try something again?
Beats me. Kinda hard to tell at the moment. It doesn't matter anyway. We just do our job. The Choshu attack Kyoto, we drive them back. Simple.
They accepted their situation and never complained. I had a good deal of respect for Harada and Nagakura. Me too.
If they don't back off soon, they're probably going to be getting new orders all the way from the top.
So, you think the Aizu will give you all orders?
Yeah, they might ask us to join as part of the official shogunate troops. Well, chances like this only come every so often. Who knows when the next one will be? Want to join us?
What? I was perplexed by his sudden invitation. Does this mean I could march as a member of the Shinsengumi? It seemed rather inappropriate for me to ask to participate just for curiosity's sake. Still, I very much hope to be helpful in some way. Could I perhaps do something like what I'd done at the Ikeda Inn? However, there's also a chance that I'd become a hindrance as opposed to helping them out. Well, we'll make that decision in the next episode. Cutting off this video here. But yeah, fortunately now I have an actual English guide, I think. But, you know, still, the common route is very long, so it's going to take me a while until I'm actually on Sanen's route. And then by then, the game is going to end because it's only half the game and all the good stuff happens in the second half. So anyway, hope to see you in the next episode or some of my other videos. And I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye-bye, everybody.